It's Bobby from BrewHardware.com here today to talk about Whirlpool hardware. Now, as people are adding pumps to their brewery, using those pumps to their greatest extent includes whirlpooling the wort after the boil for a couple of different purposes. One would be if you're using an immersion chiller, you'll greatly increase your cooling speed by moving the wort around the coils and preventing stagnation. And then also, after that coil is removed, or if you use some other chilling device, to continue spinning the wort to form a cone of trub in the center bottom of the pot so that you can drain slightly clearer wort into your fermenter. Now, there are a whole lot of different solutions for adding this wort back in, but we do prefer a hardware-based solution where you can just kind of connect your pump plumbing to a port on the side of the pot and then have a way of holding the correct orientation of the outlet in position. Now, we've offered several different solutions over the years for installing a Whirlpool, one of which is the thread-in style Whirlpool assembly, which assumes that you've already have a full coupling welded into your kettle, or you plan on installing a full coupling or our pull-through bulkhead in the side of your kettle. It's got male threads on a 90-degree compression fitting, and the tubing is attached to the compression. So that works if you've already got threaded connections already in the kettle. But what we're really happy to introduce is our new Weldless solution. We call this the SpinCycle Weldless Whirlpool Assembly. And it's based on our industry-leading true weldless bulkhead design machined out of a solid piece of stainless steel. It features an O-ring groove so that the O-ring doesn't get squeezed out when tightening this in, and also an extended half-inch mal pipe thread that will reach through any wall thickness. To choose the correct drop height for this assembly, consider the height of your pot and the largest and smallest batch sizes that you want to perform in that pot. We found that the outlet needs to be about 3 inches off the bottom of the pot minimum, and the only height requirement is based on your batch size. So if you do 5-gallon batches, you want to keep this outlet at least an inch below your 5-gallon batch level. Now let's talk about how to install this. With our 13/16 inch diameter hole drilled and deburred from the interior, take a look at the SpinCycle assembly and make sure that the O-ring is in place in the groove. Then insert it into the hole. The gasket should be making contact. Then we will take our stainless steel washer and apply it to the outside. And finally, our lock nut. We can go ahead and make that hand tight, and then we can switch over to a wrench or a socket. These lock nuts require 1.25 inch socket or wrench. And we can hold the interior assembly in place by just grabbing onto the drop tube down low and using it for leverage. This does not have to be completely torqued down really tightly to be leak-free, but you can tighten this as tight as you want because the O-ring will not squeeze out of place. This is what it looks like when the installation is correct from the outside of the pot, and the last thing you'll have to do is decide what kind of hose connection you want to make to the outside here. Being that this is male thread, we need fittings that have female threads on the back. Our first preference would be to use the Type A cam lock, but of course that requires that you've already adopted or plan to use the cam lock quick disconnect system on your hoses. This will just thread on. This is the one spot where you're going to need to use some Teflon tape to keep the thread-to-thread fitting from leaking. You can also use the ball lock quick disconnect or the BLQD style of disconnects. That's another option. And then the most budget option would be to use a hose barb that has female threads on the back. So that's the SpinCycle Weldless Whirlpool Return. We think it's pretty slick, and we think you will too. Come check it out at BrewHardware.com.